Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Wednesday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and we've got a lot to talk about today as a very impactful flooding event unfolds here across the Northwest as this atmospheric river continues to slam into the area, bringing rain all the way through Thursday evening. So you can see right here on the satellite imagery, you can clearly see the atmospheric river stretching all the way from just north of Hawaii there, all the way to the Pacific Northwest, toward British Columbia, Washington, and Oregon. And if we take a look at the radar, you can see how that rain is just streaming into the area, especially north of about Everett right now, getting a lot of rain up into the North Sound and Northwest Interior, and then a lot of rain, of course, down here south of Seattle as well. You do have that rain shadow, but you can see all that rain still falling in the Cascades, which is going to lead to that river flooding getting even more significant. You can see we do have some rain on the coast as well, and that's all going to be moving in throughout the day as we go into this evening. Now taking a look at our overall pattern here, you can see that atmospheric river is going to be riding up along the north side of that ridge, and you can see that as we go through Thursday, that ridge starts to push north, which will push the atmospheric river north out of the region, generally ending the rainfall as we go into Friday morning. And then you can see as we go into the weekend, that ridge weakens, moves off. The remnants of the atmospheric river will push through as we go through Saturday into Sunday. And then you can see that as we go into Monday here, into Sunday and Monday, we have signal for potentially another atmospheric river and more storms coming in as we go into next week. So we have to watch that very closely. Looking at the European model forecast for precipitation type, you can see that heavy rain through the day today continues through Thursday morning there, and some showers continuing into early Friday before we do mostly dry out, with still some showers lingering in the mountains through Friday night. Then you can see we are mostly dry across western Washington on Saturday before that next system, which is actually the remnants of our atmospheric river, pushes back south through the area, bringing a brief round of rain as we go into Sunday. Then as we go into Monday morning, you can see another atmospheric river moving into western Washington, moving through the area and kind of pushing out as we go into Monday night. So not nearly as long of an event, but it could still create some problems, so we have to watch that closely as well. Looking at precipitable water, just some incredible values here moving into the northwest. You can see that atmospheric river continuing to slam right into western Washington as we go through Wednesday into Thursday, and then continuing all the way into Thursday night before it pushes north as we go into Friday there. But then you can see that as we go into this weekend, the atmospheric river starts to move back into the area as it kind of weakens a ton and just gets pushed out of the area here. You can see it gets pushed through on Sunday, and then you have this potential for another atmospheric river as we go into Monday there. You can see that plume of moisture hitting the Pacific Northwest, but it's a lot more progressive, so it shouldn't cause as many problems, which is good to see. However, the door is still open, relatively speaking, with our pattern for more atmospheric river type storms to move into the area as we go into mid-December. Taking a look at the wind potential today, we do have a wind advisory in effect for parts of the lowlands, and you can see there, mainly from Everett southward, you're getting gusts of 35 to 45 miles per hour across the region, including the coast as well. This could potentially cause some tree damage, as we do have, obviously, very saturated soils. However, this wind may be verifying a little bit lower than expected as of right now. I'm filming this mid-morning here on Wednesday, but we may have some gusty winds across the region at times, so be prepared for that, especially that driving rain that's going to make it kind of difficult for driving conditions and walking around and stuff like that. So heads up for that. Now taking a look at the simulated radar here as we go through this morning, you can see kind of two areas of rain basically around SeaTac Airport southward, and then from Whidbey Island northward there. And that kind of continues as we go into this evening, and then that rain picks up again, mainly Everett southward as we go through Thursday morning, continuing in the central Cascades there all the way through midday Thursday, and you can see even keeps going into Friday with that atmospheric river kind of lingering there, pushing north. Those showers kind of move out as we go into Friday afternoon or Friday morning there. You can see a few lingering showers maybe around Painfield. But what is this bringing in terms of rain? Well, this is the European model, and this started last night, so this is kind of including some rain that's fallen last night and what we have today. You can see that through Thursday night, you're looking at potentially up to 1.5 to 2.5 inches from Everett northward toward Bellingham, about 2 to 3 inches on the coast. And then from Seattle southward down toward Olympia and Kelso there, you can see 1.5 to 2.5 inches. The Cascades getting up to 6 inches there. That's what's continuing the river flooding and making it worse with this second crest of the rivers going into Thursday, which we'll take a look at in just a moment. You can see here on the high resolution rapid refresh model, this is looking at a higher resolution forecast. You see that rain shadow around Everett. You see the heavier rain from Seattle down toward Tacoma and Olympia, with maybe up to 1.5 inches there just south of Seattle. And then you can see the this other area of rain north of Whidbey Island there. getting about 1.5 inches around Bellingham, and this is just from Thursday or from Wednesday morning through Friday. So you can see even the mountains getting an additional up to maybe 10 inches of rain in some of the central Cascades. Again, really fueling that huge crests of the rivers coming up here, and you can see even some of the areas of southwest Washington getting another round of heavy rain as well. So this event is not over yet. This event's not going to be over until we go into Thursday night into Friday morning, and then even after that, we're still going to be dealing with the rivers remaining high. Taking a look at temperatures, you can see it's pretty warm out there. It's been 55 at my house here in Federal Way all night and into the morning, and it's going to continue being like that today. Highs in the mid-50s across western Washington. We cool a tiny bit on Thursday, low to mid-50s still across the region. Mountains still way above freezing. As we go into Friday, you can see those highs get up into the mid-50s again south of Everett, low 50s to the north. And then as we go into Saturday, that ridge is across the area, get highs in the mid to upper 50s for parts of the Pacific Northwest here, especially south of Tacoma there in western Washington. You can see the mountains still very warm. And then as we go into Sunday, we still are on the warm side with some of these systems moving through, highs in the mid to upper 50s, maybe even a few low 60s across western Washington on Sunday. Then as we go into Monday and we get another atmospheric river that moves into the area, that could bring highs even higher, even up into the low 60s across parts of western Washington, including Seattle. So very interesting stuff coming up with the temperatures as well, and remaining very high above our average. So now this is what we really want to talk about. These are the rivers, and we've got a lot going on across the region. So we'll kind of go through it as we did yesterday. So this has been a pretty big increase here. The Nooksack River up in Ferndale, you can see it's now going to get up to moderate flood stage as we go into Thursday night. The big one that we really are taking a look at here is the Skagit River, both in Concrete and then down in Mount Vernon. You can see in Concrete it's starting to rise rapidly, and we may have an all-time record crest there of 47 feet, breaking the all-time record by 5 feet. This could be extremely devastating. We're talking evacuations and stuff like that for the Skagit Valley, from Concrete all the way down into Mount Vernon. In Mount Vernon, there is also a record high crest there at 41.5 feet, which is about 4 feet above that all-time record of 37 feet. So really just not a good situation coming up for the Skagit Valley. This could be very devastating if it verifies as these forecasts show. The Stillaguamish River at Arlington is also going to get into major flood stage, just about a half a foot shy of the record there, as we go into that crest tonight into Thursday morning. You can see if we go over to the Olympic Peninsula, the Elwha River near Port Angeles there is also going to get into major flood stage as we go into late today into tonight. That wasn't really expected to happen previously, but it looks like it will get near its record. They're just about a foot off the record. Of course, we have some big flooding going on the Snoqualmie, Snohomish, Skykomish River system there. The Snohomish River at Snohomish is looking to get at its all-time record for like 12 hours. This could be very damaging for parts of Snohomish, including potential levee failures there around the city of Snohomish and the valley there. There are some evacuation notices in effect already. The Snohomish River at Monroe potentially going to break a record by 4 feet as we go into Thursday. Just incredible numbers there on the Snoqualmie River at Monroe. This could be very devastating for that area as well. Looking up the Skykomish River at Gold Bar, there have been some water rescues in this area today. It's already in major flood stage, and it's going to get about 0.3 feet from its record as we go into tonight, into Thursday morning. So it could be some really bad impacts there along the Skykomish and Gold Bar as well. The Tolt River near Carnation that flows into the Snoqualmie River going to get well above major flood stage there as we go into Wednesday night tonight into Thursday morning. You can see very high levels on the Tolt River. And then looking at the Snoqualmie River at Carnation, obviously this impacts a huge amount of people given how big this river is and how wide that valley is. And you can see it looks like we're going to crest about foot and a half below the all-time record there as we go into Thursday afternoon. The Snoqualmie River at Snoqualmie Falls potentially going for its 4th highest crest on record. You can see those values getting up to 65,000 cubic feet per second. That is about 10,000, about 15,000. They're short of the 78,800 cubic feet per second record, but still, this is an incredible number for Snoqualmie Falls and very, very high there. This is new since yesterday. The Cedar River, both at Landsberg and Renton, is going to get very high. It's rising. It's in minor flood stage right now in Landsberg, but you can see it gets all the way up to 9.8 feet. That is just shy of the all-time record of 10 feet. I've seen this river in flood stage before, and it's pretty gnarly out there. So very high amounts coming up on the Cedar River. And look at the Cedar River in Renton as well. Just going to be about a tenth of a foot shy of the all-time record there at Renton Airport. That is just some incredible potential. Just to see this level again here on the Cedar River at Renton, this could cause some big problems in the town of Renton, in city of Renton downtown. So you got to watch that closely. Green River and Auburn, I was here yesterday. This is going to be a pretty rough go for folks along the Green River because look at this. We get down as we go through tonight, but then it rises back up into Thursday and remains in minor flood stage potentially for the next entire week. So that could be a really not good situation along the Green River. You're kind of seeing the same thing there at the White River in Auburn, also controlled by a dam there, and you can see it's in minor flood stage now and may remain there all the way through the next week, cresting there as we go into tomorrow night. The Puyallup River in Ording is near its all-time record high right now at 21,500 cubic feet per second. It reached that earlier this morning about 6 a.m. and has since started to decline down to 18,000, but still a record-tying level there on the Puyallup River. The Carbon River near Fairfax is also starting to get closer to its record, back up into minor flood stage, may get up into major flood stage again as we go to Thursday morning. The Puyallup River at Puyallup is what that all drains into there, getting up to potentially its highest level since 1996, just shy of moderate flood stage there as we go into Thursday morning. There are already some road closures happening in Puyallup. Looking real quick here at some rivers in southwest Washington, the Nisqually River near National likely getting up into major flood stage as we go into tomorrow morning. The Cowlitz River near Randall, it's high in Packwood, it's even higher in Randall. You can see it having a prolonged period of major flood stage, cresting tomorrow morning, staying in major flood stage all the way through Friday night. And then you can see the Chehalis River in Grand Mound is getting quite high as well. This is after the Skookumchuck and Newacum rivers all drain into the Chehalis River there. It's going to remain in moderate flood stage all the way through into late Friday there, and then slowly makes its way back down. In southwest Washington, the Grays River near Roseburg, again up into moderate flood stage after previously being in major flood stage back on Monday. And then wanted to point this out, eastern Washington dealing with this as well. This is the Natchez River in the town of Natchez up into moderate flood stage, remains in flood stage all the way through Friday night. The Yakima River there near Cle is going to get up into moderate flood stage as well. You can see that happening as we go through tonight. And though that moderate flood continues on the Yakima River all the way down to where it flows into the Columbia down in Richland. And then wanted to point this out as well. This is pretty rare. The Wenatchee River in Peshastin there near between Leavenworth and Wenatchee, going to get all the way up into major flood stage, 2 feet shy of the record. That crest happens tomorrow. That is pretty significant because usually this river doesn't flood outside of snowmelt. So this is this could be a big deal for some areas along the Wenatchee River from Leavenworth all the way down through Wenatchee where it combines with the Columbia. So that's the situation, folks. It is really not looking good in terms of the river flooding. So we got to watch this all very closely. Stay tuned for more updates through the next couple days. Looking at the excessive rainfall outlook, this is kind of exactly what you'd expect. The Olympics and the coast, the Cascades from Canada all the way down in northern Oregon, and even a little bit of an area there in the Seattle metro area in that excessive rainfall outlook. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe here to Western Washington Weather. Follow the Western Washington Weather Facebook group, my Twitter and Blue Sky pages as well. Got a lot to talk about here over the next couple days as this major and potentially devastating river flooding event unfolds across Western Washington as the atmospheric river moves through. So thank you all very much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will talk to you all later.